Welcome back to the Universal Writer's Guide. My name is Robert Stasio, and we have a very important chapter today, Chapter 3, the infamous thesis statement, and we'll be covering it in depth. Now, the first thing to know about a thesis statement is that they are the most important sentence in the paper. It doesn't matter, if you're writing a 20-page paper, it's important to get your thesis aligned with the assignment before any substantial writing begins. Because if you're doing a bunch of writing that does not line up with the thesis statement, it is going to be all for naught. A thesis can be thought of as the main topic of the paper, but it is also always an opinion. Think of the word hypothesis, right? In science and biology, we know this as an educated guess, and it's in there. It's hypothesis. And it is also can be thought of a this is. I don't know why I have that association, but thesis, like if you think about it, you got a little imagination. Thesis, this is, right? So even in a research paper, right, it's based on facts. So how can it have an opinion in a research paper? Well, the answer is that it's an opinion backed up by factual information, right? So the thesis will be still your opinion, on a subject matter, but instead of just personal observations in a non-research paper, in a research paper, it'll just be research paragraphs, and we'll get to that later on in the next chapter, based exclusively on research. So thesis statements can seem overwhelming because they are so important to a paper, but when broken down to essential elements, they're easier to understand. So your thesis is going to equal a main topic plus your opinion, and one opinion generally, and your reasons 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so in the example below, it will have SUVs, right, in red is your main topic, and then circled in green are the best cars, right? That's your opinion, one singular opinion, and that's because they are, and your reasons are circled in blue here, 1, safe, 2, comfortable, and 3, stylish. And those reasons are also going to be subtopics 1, 2, 3 in paragraph 1, 2, 3. Okay, so a safe paragraph, a comfortable paragraph, and a stylish paragraph, all revolving around SUVs are the best cars. Okay, so sometimes you have to create a thesis out of thin air. Your instructor will just be like, whatever you want your topic to be, they're comfortable with it. Just give me a thesis and then write your paper. But often an instructor will pose a question, and sometimes vaguely, okay, that you do have instructors that aren't excellent at articulating exactly what they want you to write about. It can be a little bit vague. So we'll talk a little bit later about having a command of the thesis will be very helpful for this scenario, and you'll be able to running your thesis by your instructor first. If you get a chance to ask them one-on-one and be like, hey, do you like this thesis? That'd be a good thing. That'd be a really good thing. But also, one of the keys that we're going to look at on the next page is that the answer is always in the question, and you just have to rearrange the words in most cases. So stay tuned here for the next page. We're going to look into that. So a successful thesis begins by mirroring the language of the question. Use as much as the question as possible by, in the example down there, crossing out unused material and lightly modifying the example. modifying the sentence. So in the example here, the question is, what are the sorry, I don't have my glasses on. They reflect too much in the light there. Anyways, what are the characteristics of an effective newscaster? This is our question that our fictitious instructors posed to us. And you can see in the example that what I've done there is that at the top where the thesis is in yellow, we have the question, what are the characteristics of an effective newscaster? And I've crossed out the what are, not useful when we're modifying the question into an answer, right? Capitalize the T there so it reads the characteristics of an effective newscaster. And then I added on the R ... right there. Okay, so that's the very first part of the thesis going on. And you can see that it leads directly into our outline, right? So the characteristics of an effective newscaster that we're going to discuss is in paragraph 1, they're knowledgeable. Paragraph 2, they have style. In paragraph 3, they conduct good interviews. Okay, and you see how that essay is going to play out if you've seen the previous chapter. That looks like it'll be a good essay. So we're not gonna write that out or anything like that. But we have a bunch of examples coming up, and if you've bought the guide, they're excellent to be able to go through these a bunch and just get the practice of it. Especially the questions are designed to be easy for what you would like to do with them. Your response, for instance, if you won $100,000, how would you spend it? Good question to respond to, right? Let's take a look at the answers right quick. So we got the examples going on here. If you've got the book, page 50, and there is no correct way to do them other than remember the previous chapters, don't repeat and don't ramble. But in my example, I said one way that you see at the top that I did the cross out thing. Again, it's so important to stay real close to the question, only lightly modifying the question. It is easy a lot of times when we're writing is to answer a question that wasn't posed or that was not the same as the question that your instructor wanted, right? You want to really zero in every time on what they want, as opposed to what you want to write about, especially as you start getting into the later years of high school and into college. It's all about the instructor. I think I got a little paragraph to discuss in later on in this chapter where we'll discuss that further. But so in number 1, if I won $100,000, I would spend it on ... And number 1 there, I'm talking about invest, and my details would be A, Bitcoin, B, stocks, C, savings account. Subtopic number 2 would be clothes. Details are shirt, pants, and footwear. And subtopic 3 is share, and my details would be family, friends, and charity. Okay. Again, obviously you will have different ways to spend $100,000, but as long as it looks something like that, you'll be fine. You can see in number 2 and 3, 2 is describe your ideal summer, turns into my ideal summer consists of, and we go on to talk about relaxing, sports, nature. And 3, what is your favorite restaurant? My favorite restaurant is Wendy's because, and then we go into that. All right, excellent practice here. The more you do it, the easier it is. And when you run into, um, a paper in your own courses that you take, it'll be quicker and easier to really break down your essay just by having this stage right here. Just have things figured out. And again, this will only take like 5, 10, 15 minutes on, when you go into doing a school paper. And as you see, like, you have the game plan all the way figured out, then you can just write the paper. And it's a whole lot easier, a whole lot faster to do. Okay. So just in case you don't have the book available on Amazon, it's like $20. I'm gonna post the second page of questions here. Maybe you ain't got the bucks, but you got a printer. You want to screenshot it. The important thing is just to get your repetitions in here and make sure you can do outlines and respond to thesis statements with quickness. Okay. So here we are. We're going to take a look at how not only the thesis is used in a 5-paragraph essay, but how that outline translates into an entire paper. All right, so at the top there, number 1, thesis is found in both the introduction and conclusion, and it really should be the exact same thesis, maybe the wording a little different to introduce it or whatever, but the important thing is that, as in the example, the technology is present in my life: 1, college; 2, work; and 3, at home. That we have those topics listed. And number 2 there, it clearly sets out the roadmap of what the essay will be about, and also the order of it. Okay, if you list college is the first one, then college should be the first paragraph. The second paragraph should be work, and the third one should be home. It should be a roadmap, and don't mess up the order on it. Number 3, paragraphs remain loyal to the thesis all the way to the end. Labeling in number 4 should be used in the rough draft to ensure each sentence serves a purpose. Yes, so on your rough draft, print it out, and doesn't hurt to go through it. It will help a lot. Just be exact with it, that each sentence is serving a purpose, and everything lines up as our outline on the left there. You can see the question from the instructor here is, what role does technology play in your life? And the student response is, technology plays an important role in my life by. And number 1, college. They'll be talking about A, online classes; B, ebooks; and C, Google. Paragraph 2, subtopic 2, work. Something about an ordering app, a credit cards, and websites help with their work. And number 3, at home, they're going to be talking about Amazon, Alexa; B, Hulu; and C, Roomba. Okay, so that is the ways that technology has played a role in your life, or how has technology shaped your life there. Okay, so the introduction with the thesis. Technology is present in my life in college, work, and home. I am constantly surrounded by technology from day to day. Technology shapes the way I live and how I connect with others. You see there, we discussed the comment A and comment B. You notice how those 2 sentences, they are a little bit for show, but the biggest thing is they do not use up information that we're going to be using in the paragraphs. When you look over to the left, the specifics and the details going on, and they don't veer off course, right? I see that a whole lot, and usually begins with a large introduction, and like I said, folks will just either start using up parts of their paper, the material, they'll talk in body paragraphs, or all of a sudden we're talking about something else, like dinosaurs or whatever. Okay, let's get to paragraph 1, subtopic open. College classes use different technologies to educate students in many ways. All right, college. This is the college paragraph, and it said we started with it in the introduction, 1 college. So here we are, college classes. Point A, some courses offer online classes that are flexible for student needs or allow them to work at their own pace. Many textbooks are available as B, ebook options that students can access for a mobile device instead of carrying heavy books. Since many assignments are submitted through C, Google Classroom, students and professors do not have to worry about misplacing papers, and it creates an eco-friendly solution. Subtopic close. These technologies help students and professors customize the course to their needs. Okay, all the way together, cohesive paragraph about college, and as it relates to technology, we're off to a real good start. So here we are, page 2, paragraph 2. I work at a small business. They had a coffee and donut shop, and technology is essential for connecting with the community. Right? Started out with the subtopic. We know this is going to be about work and how it relates to technology. Customers are able to place orders through an app, A, at our website for special events or everyday consumption. People almost never carry cash anymore, so being a small business accepts B, credit cards, makes transitions easier and more convenient. Additionally, we promote our products through our website, C, and social media. Without these solutions, the business would not run it smoothly, and we might not have received as much business as we do today. Okay, very good, right? This is the business paragraph. We got business, point A, B, C, and then business close. Subtopic open for paragraph 3. Finally, technology in my home has made my life more enjoyable. With the help of Amazon Alexa, A, I can listen to music, set my alarm, and shop for new products. My television is technologically equipped to entertain me all day long with a variety of streaming videos such as B, Hulu, YouTube, and Netflix. And one other way technology has been helpful is both my Roomba, which vacuums once a day, and also my cat feeder that dispenses food twice a day when I'm at work. It is evident that technology has been useful in my home. Subtopic close. All right, the home thing, point A, B, C. And then we reassert that technology has been useful in the home. So conclusion with the thesis, clearly technology is a gift to my 1, school, 2, work, and 3, home life. It has made my life easier, more convenient. I enjoy its benefits every day. Comment A, comment B again. You know, just a little decoration there for the comments. Yes, the introduction is an awful lot like the conclusion, and that prevents any confusion. And small thing with me, I like that thesis first and foremost. I do not like any mystery. It is an instructor of, is the thesis there? Disappointment when you don't find the thesis as an instructor when you get to either the intro or the conclusion. Honestly, like, instructors too need to be, if they're reading over 100 papers, you know, in over a couple days, it's exhausting, number 1. And then number 2, like, you know, you got other things going on in your life, and you need to, it helps us as the instructor keep on the rails here, and you know, just you feel good. You know that the student knows what they're talking about. They kept everything together, and A or B paper. Okay, so very good. Okay, on the previous slide, I said we talked about comments. We did not talk about comments. So I'll go through it quick, but maybe you already got an idea what's going on here. The main goal of the introduction and conclusion is to announce the thesis to your readers. 2 to 4 comments in addition to the thesis statements in both the intro and conclusion is enough for most essays. Some classes will require a hook or a similar special request. I'm not a fan of hooks. They just cause confusion for the reader or for the writers most time, and I don't know. If I had to do a hook, I would purposely make it corny. But anyways, you got a special request. Your instructor will specify, and you can say something like, "Wow, you won't believe what technology has done for my life. Maybe it could do something amazing for you." I don't know. That was bad, but usually hooks are. So, we looked at the previous introduction. Here, it's the same thing. Some things that make a party fun are food, games, and people. Comment A, these are the things that make a gathering enjoyable. It's important to celebrate special occasion. So, why am I against long, eloquent introductions? I did cover this a little bit in the last slide. That's right. The reason is because you may either start using up material in the paper you will be discussing later on in the body paragraphs. You can get carried away in, writing, and especially at the introductions. If you're starting with the introduction, that's where you're at your highest energy for the assignment, and you want to write, and next thing you know, your intro paragraph is 3/4 of a page long. One of two bad things is happening, if not both, which is, like I said, you're using body paragraph material. What are you going to write about if you've already written it in the introduction? How are you going to make a body paragraph without it being like a repetitive essay? So, yes, 3 to 5 sentences on the intro. The other bad thing that can happen, as mentioned before, is you start talking about something else not related to your thesis, like UFOs, which I enjoy a good UFO paper, but if it's not about a UFO, if it's a party paper and you start mentioning UFOs, then it doesn't belong there, unless it's a party paper about UFOs. Okay, I've said too much. Anyways, the art of the comment and introductions and conclusions. In all honesty, comments are a bit of window dressing and a bit superficial, but also necessary. The main purpose of comments is that an introduction needs more than a single thesis statement to be complete. I would be okay with it if I lived in a world where the introduction of a paper was a single, direct, concise thesis statement. One sentence paragraph introduction. I do not live in such a world, and I don't think anybody else here does either in academia. Anyways, so the comments are a bit of window dressing and superficial, but also necessary. The main purpose of comments is that intro needs more than a single thesis to be complete. The thesis is the main attraction. We don't want to obscure our central premise / opinion of the paper. Always keep in mind that comments should not contradict the thesis, wander off into irrelevant info, or reveal material used for later in the paper. That's the other crazy thing that happens in the paper. Completely understandable. We talked about wandering off into irrelevant info or revealing material for later in the paper. You will sometimes get somebody will say a thesis in their introduction and then contradict it. Like they'll say the opposite of it. For instance, some things that make a party fun are food, games, and people. And they'll say something like, these are fun, important elements, but it really doesn't matter. You could also have a bad time, potentially. I don't know. But, contradicting the thesis, super bad. Everything needs to keep your essay in total agreement. Okay, so these are actually pretty important. Not just for this, it'll be good practice, but if you make it to the research chapter next, you're going to see how they also play a role. I'll just give you a little spoiler alert on that. Is it like when you're doing your research paper, and let's say your research paper is on, global warming or something like that, environmental issues, that is educated as you might be on it, it's that the researchers who have written the paper, they are the main star of the show. So you'll be like commenting around it, as opposed to like in research, it makes people, a lot of times people feel like they have, in the paper, they feel like they have to write something super profound, which you may do in a separate opinion paragraph or something, but like really all you want to do is present the research and make it stand out in a good way. So, getting back to these comments, which are similar in that they're a bit of window dressing, we have a couple, we have an exercise of these, of like a page of them coming up next. And I'll just give you one example here. What are the characteristics of an effective newscaster? We successfully turned it into the characteristics of an effective newscaster are. And then it'll give you the 1, 2, 3 after that. I think it was style, good interviews, and what was the third thing? And good on camera. I don't know. It doesn't matter because we're talking about comments here. Comment A. Being a great newscaster requires hard work and many talents. Comment B. Not everyone is cut out for this position, and those who are deserve admiration. Okay, you see those comments there? They're not going to be used, they don't step on anything going on in the essay, just a couple of brief things. And then you'll be ready for those body paragraphs coming up. So, next slide, I'm going to show you, again, for those who screenshot, but also just go on Amazon, pay the $20. It'd be worth it. It's a nice thick book. Universal Writer's Guide. Okay, so I provided the thesis, and these are my versions, my answers to it, so don't feel like, if you did different answers, it's fine. What you would do with $100,000. I would put most away for savings. Lies. Buy some clothes. True. And make charitable donation to the less fortunate. I take care of friends and family that were struggling, and if I knew it would like a charity or something, I would give a couple bucks away. Anyways, comment on it. Just pretend like they're your answers if you need to, or write yours in there. It doesn't matter, but you just got to put in comments there. All right. Practice for an introduction and conclusion. Conclusions will be the same deal. The conclusion only really needs the thesis in that one sentence conclusion universe, but in our universe we need to have at least 3 sentences for anybody to take us seriously. Anyways, so comment on it, put your comments in there, and remember, the key is just to say a little something. Don't go off track on it. Talking about something crazy. Don't contradict the thesis. And don't be like going on a rant that you could rant in your body paragraphs, or later on you'll do like you'll see, like, again, back to research papers, like you do the research paragraphs and then you get opinion paragraphs that you can do a little bit of ranting in. Those are for the longer papers, but yeah, you should structure the opinion parts. Anyways, this is not a place for ranting, just comments. Thank you. So you thought it was over with the 5-paragraph essay, but if you've understood everything thus far, you will be ready for longer essays and the big outline here, which goes beyond 5 paragraphs. And if you look at the lower left box, you'll see that the paragraphs you do, so it talks about outlines, how many boxes you need to fill, and how that will translate to a page, because a lot of instructors will go off of like page length. They want like a 3-page essay or 5-page essay or what have you. So 3 boxes will get you if you're writing shorter paragraphs, you might only get a page out of it. Longer paragraphs, you get like a page and a half. 3 paragraphs plus an introduction and a conclusion, maybe 2 pages. But more realistically, 6 boxes will get you to 2 to 3 pages. 9 boxes will get you 4 pages, and 12 boxes will get you to 5 and 6 pages. And again, that includes the intro and conclusion. So, and again, we're talking about like essays. When you do these outlines and you have everything together, we're talking about a focus type essay. But it's gonna be better than average. I'm telling you, as an instructor, like, especially if you don't teach these things, you will get you will get some wild. I mean, some of it's drivel. I mean, some people can just write volume of writing. But, like, if you're an instructor that pays attention to the writing and you're, like, trying to understand what they're saying, yeah, sometimes it will be drivel. And sometimes it will be just, it'll be, like, good or interesting or whatever, but it's just, they're just freestyle, and you get into freestyle. And again, I'm here to get you the grades. I'm just trying to show you how to get to the grades. And I definitely believe I have 15 years experience in this. It's faster too once you pick up all this stuff. So anyways, the big outline accommodates the up to 12 paragraphs. And if you need to go longer, you just get another one. There will be an outline. In the book has the outlines. Next page, it'll be there. I'll show you. And, yeah, if you got a screenshot, you got a screenshot. Or about the book. Search Universal Writer's Guide. Anyways, so, like, with these boxes, too, that as you're putting together as you're putting together from your brainstorm into the boxes, and then the boxes, and you get ready to do your paragraphs and that, you definitely, well, you want to be able to switch the order of it, because, like, the order of things and what belongs together, we're gonna see. So, like, you'll have 3, if you have 9 boxes filled, you'll have 3 thesis statements. And so we'll talk about it on the next page where it all comes together in introduction. But yeah, so the thesis is the main point of the paper, and we'll just see how, like, there's the first thesis is going to be like really you center around your opinion and that kind of thing. And the second thesis, it can be like an addition onto that. And then you'll see the third thesis, like, is more geared towards, like, relates to main idea, and you can see it here. So yeah, just to start out here, you can reorder the boxes, and you're going to want to group them appropriately, like things that match up. This one has all 12 filled out, and I recommend, if you're going to use 9, then that's good to fill out all 12, because then you can make decisions after the outlining process, which ones you don't like, or just seem too difficult, or if for whatever reason you get the cream of the crop at the 9, and then you got 3 you're like, meh, you really ain't into them. Or if maybe you need them later on because the paper needs to go, 5 pages of paper needs to be 5 pages at least, whatever. It's good to have extra boxes to choose from. So you can see, like, it doesn't go in order that maybe later on in the process I numbered them different or whatever, and you can see I X'd a couple out. Now, in the first video, I think I talked a lot about having instructors that will sometimes give you longer essays than you have interest in your topic, right? So you'll have your main topic, you'll have your opinion, and it'll be like 1, 2, these are the reasons I believe whatever, the newscaster, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. So a lot of instructors will be like, yeah, let me get like a 5-page, 10-page essay out of this or whatever. So at the bottom, what you have is extra subtopic ideas. And by the way, they do that just to stretch you, you know what I mean? See, make you dig real deep on the topic. Just fine. So some extra subtopic ideas you could do: personal experience, history of the topic, compare and contrast to something, step-by-step process, descriptive paragraph, a business idea, controversy / mystery, picture or graph. We'll cover that maybe later. I don't know. I mean, you can cover it now and just put in a picture and then write about it. And, the only thing I'll say is put the picture in the center. Like, do 2 to 3 sentences to start out the paragraph, and then 2 to 3 to end it. Pop culture opinion. So we'll see how this plays out in this essay. You can see we have knowledge, well spoke, in interviews going to be the first ones. The style, setting, and where's 3 there? Interviews, or I'm sorry, style, setting. Where's 6? I don't know, it doesn't matter. We'll get to it in the next page. But so once that kind of stuff is used up, we can go into history in box 9. Process, how do you become a newscaster, in box 7 down in the lower left. And community, make connections in the community on box, there go box 6. Yeah, make connections in the community. What did we do? 7, 8, 9. Make connections. So for box 8, make connections, we got viewers, coworkers, and bosses. Okay, so yes, still not relate as tightly to the main thesis as you go, but that's generally okay. You just do that at the end of the essay. So this is introductions and conclusions, part 2. In longer essays, we must include multiple theses. Here we have 3 theses, but it can go beyond. We might have 4 theses, 5, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, and I just want to say, to be clear, there's going to be levels of your thesis. That first thesis should be completely by the rules, concise, tight, relating, to topic and everything. But like I said, as it gets later in it, you'll be doing things that I don't know if historical, In this one, it all kind of goes up to the characteristics. But anyways, save your best stuff or use your best stuff early in the essay. The instructor is gonna understand like if things wander off it. Anyways, a little bit. Let's read through this. The characteristics of an effective newscaster are that they are knowledgeable, well-spoken, conduct excellent interviews. Now, here's where our comment comes in. In the comments here, they play an additional role that they buffer the thesis so that like your intro and your conclusion do not sound like just a rapid fire of the topics you're going to talk about. So comment A, news personalities work hard for the position, have a great deal of responsibility. Thesis 2, other important aspects of a good newscaster are that they have style. 4, a comfortable work in a variety of settings. 5, and are in touch with their community. 6, a career in reporting the news has many requirements necessary to succeed. Comment B, right? You see how that spaces that out from the thesis, gives you a little breathing room, plays a nice functional role. Thesis 3, newscaster must complete a process, become a professional. 7, make connections. 8, in the industry, and understand position from 9, historical perspective. Okay, so yeah, comments doing their job there. I know I spoke badly of them earlier. They're definitely necessary, like, you know, just in a practical world, you need a little bit of decoration. All right. So let's talk about the conclusion. And if you saw the 5-paragraph essay, I talked about the importance of the conclusion being, I mean, I tell everybody it should mirror it, only because like bad things happen, man. It's like, if you just got done as an instructor reading an entire essay and then you get to the in conclusion part, they are not talking about what happened in the essay, or they're contradicting what happened in the essay. That's the worst. Or they'll just go off tangent, right? And what was the third one? Anyways, I would just, highlight, copy, paste if you're typing your introduction, and then paste it in the conclusion area, and then go back and lightly modify that conclusion so it doesn't look like you highly copy paste the conclusion. But yeah, the order should be the same, and the wording too. When I get down here, right, we start out the characteristics of effective newscaster are blah blah blah, but when we get to the bottom one, we start out with a few aspects of an effective newscaster, right? So that little modification there makes it so it's not identical, but I would prefer it to be identical than to, even the order, I'm very particular, like, have that order of those paragraphs you see in red, like that should be the order of the paragraphs. I want to make this easy for your instructor. I do not want your instructor to work too hard. I told you, those C, D, and F papers, man, you gotta, not only do you gotta deliver bad news of a grade, you also have to educate at the same time. And yeah, you don't want to, it's tough, like delivering bad news and first of all, if you got bad news, then they are not in a receptive, the student is not in a receptive mindset at that point. They're in a combative mindset. So, okay, rant over. Thesis 1 is there. Comment A, we changed up the comments, right? There are many challenges to become a news personality. It requires that one must possess many talents. Right? We did not, that's a new comment there. And then we go on to say other qualities of a proficient newscaster are that they have 4, style, comfortable working in a variety of 5 settings, and are in touch with the community. 6. Comment B, a career as a news personality has many challenges, both inside and outside the newsroom. Thesis 3, newscasters must work hard to become 7 professional, make connections 8 in the business, and have an understanding of 9 historical perspective. Okay, so I tell you, the comments are difficult a little bit. I mean, maybe it's just a me thing, but it's like, you know, you gotta kind of, you gotta do, I mean, especially at the end of the paper, like, you've already said everything you need to say, so now you need to say just a little bit more without saying anything at all. But anyways, they do their job there, and they play their role, and I'm confident that your instructor is going to be happy with an intro and conclusion like this. Okay, so yeah, at this point, if you want to take the big outline, did I have a big outline? Prepare for the big outline that I'm going to assign you here, and fill that out, and then you're ready to do one of these long ones. And if you can do that, like, you will be ready. I mean, I'm teaching you how to dominate college writing, certainly high school writing. Yeah. Shout out to the folks that have been through the COVID year. I see people with writing skills. I know what they, you know, I don't know what happened. But anyways, I'm here to fix it. So stick with me, work hard at this, and it'll make your, it's like I said, your high school and college writing a whole lot easier with a little bit of work here. Yes, here we go. A blank outline. You can start out. Go ahead if you wanted. You would do a brand new one, or no, you wouldn't do a brand new one. Use one of the theses before that you already have outlined, and use the 1, 2, 3, and see if you can fill up all 12 of them. Don't forget the extra subtopic ideas at the bottom, and also for those ones at the bottom there, you can use, if you want to, I mean, I'd recommend using 3 different ones, but you could use, like, say, history of the topic. Like, there could be 3 sections of history, maybe, or 3 things of personal experience. A compare contrast would take up 2, maybe step by step. We'll have, like, more on the next page. I'm going to discuss different types of essays and really how they're the same thing. But business idea is a good one. Controversy is a good one. Mystery, controversy, mystery. Picture, graph, if you can draw, that would be cool. Celebrity related, pop culture, some kind of opinion, perspective. Anyways, see if you can get all 12 of them. That would be great. That'd be cool. Alright, good luck. Definitely get this part here. Get your introduction and the conclusion together. Man, if you can successfully do this, you got to go back a little bit there and reread the introduction and conclusion part, you know, how to get those theses in. The biggest thing is just making sure you got 3 boxes per thesis and those comments in there. And I mean, just with the outline and this, that you're off to a great start on the essay, and then you just got to do those body paragraphs. I mean, you know, follow along with it. Subtopic open, point A, B, C, subtopic close. Get that first big essay done right there, 3 to 5 pages, and once you got that whole process together, you're in good shape. The thing is, it can be very intimidating, is many instructors, particularly English instructors like myself, will have all these different names that sound really intimidating. Like, you gotta learn how to do a expository paper, an expose, if you will. Persuasive paper, argument, critique. French. Very good. I kid. First things first. There are really generally, okay, you want to delineate, it's going to be either a opinion essay, a fact essay, or it's going to be both. Stay tuned for next chapter. We'll get all into the research in that. But yes, when you are getting, it'll be opinion, fact, or both. Sometimes it's in varying amounts too. Sometimes it'll be a personal, like, persuasive essay or whatever, and they'll want like one paragraph of research. Other times it'll be like a research paragraph or research paper, and they're gonna want like one paragraph or one page of opinion. So again, opinion paper, fact paper, or both papers. Now we're getting into, so we have getting back to the point about intimidating sounding essays. Persuasive, argumentative, critical, critique, analysis, evaluation essay. Okay, so this all falls under what is and it can include research, especially, if you're doing an analysis. But still, an analysis, I mean, if you're persuading somebody, you're using your opinion. If you're arguing, you're using your opinion. Again, those can include research, maybe. Just usually the instructor's out front, like, okay, I need 1, 2, 3 paragraphs of research or whatever. But critical critique, French for critical, analysis, like you're analyzing something, evaluating something. So yeah, it's all like this opinion thing. I break it down a little bit: expository, descriptive. Be a little different, like if you're describing, the football game. Maybe you went to the stadium and discussed, the fans, the food, the excitement, the atmosphere. Was a college game, was a pro game. Definition essay. You start out with a definition, and then you get a couple lines. Narrative will be a little different. Tell a story. But I mean, that's the same, really, as kind of description. Yeah. Intimidating titles. They all mean the same thing in a lot of ways. Process is another one. Process more step by step, if how do you make a pizza? How to fix a car, how to build a computer, step by step. Now, all of these things are going to have in common is like they're just boxes over on the outlines. And outline first. If you're doing a process essay, something I didn't really get to mention about the boxes and what they do too is that they bring balance to your essay, and meaning you don't discuss, like if you're doing a pizza essay, that you don't discuss like 90% of the essay, and that's an exaggeration, but 90% of the essay talking about how you made the crust. Right? It forces you to balance in the outline in the beginning phases to talk about how you make the crust, sauce, cheese, pepperoni, and other toppings, such as pineapple. I know that triggers people. I think it triggered me for a while, but then I was like, okay, yep, it's all right. Anyways, yes, outlining is going to bring balance to it, and that relates strongly to especially when you're free writing, is that you have the most energy at the beginning of that paper. And that's why I mentioned, like, if you're doing a pizza, like, in that first body paragraph, you might be discussing the crust, and maybe you're like real into it at the beginning of the essay while you're fresh. When you first start writing, usually you're fresh, and if you lose energy, so maybe you'd have this enormous great paragraph on the crust, but like later on you trailed off. And yeah, outline first. Anyways, in the blue box, so there's a couple other ones to be aware of that will definitely cause intimidation if you don't have a good idea what's going on. That's the old cause and effect essay. But you see, like, it'll fit in the outline in the green box, right, to the left there. If the topic is pollution, right, we have 3 causes. Cause 1, burning fossil fuels. Cause 2, polluting ocean. And cause 3, pesticides. So if you were to do an outline on it, that you would do box 1 in burning fossil fuels. You might talk about, for your details, A, B, and C. One might be cars. Detail B could be planes, and detail C could be like lawnmowers, I guess. Cutting your grass is a lot of fossil fuels coming up. Dinosaurs in gas form. I don't know if that's true. Okay, polluting the ocean. A, B, and C might be microplastics. Detail B might be chemicals, and detail C might be something about damage to the coral reefs, which I know is not good. Anyway, pesticides. Anyway, so you'd have like maybe 3 of those, and then do a separate box for the effects, right? What does burning fossil fuels do? Effects are A, B, C. Might be like air quality, heats up the atmosphere, and one more effect is, it dries out like the wildlife or reduces the ecosystem. And you go right down the line. Okay, for 2 would be polluting ocean, 3 would be pesticides. Okay, so cause and effect, total of 6 boxes. You'd be able to take care of that easily. Compare and contrast. Comparing high school versus college, right? That similar format, although it wouldn't be cause and effect. You would talk about compare. And by the way, I think compare and contrast mean the same thing, which is confusing, which many things in the English subject area are labeled confusing. Anyways, so in the high school paragraph, you would talk about, the high school essay, a paragraph about how it's free, teachers, and school, what a school atmosphere is versus college. It's got costs, college costs for most people. It would be professors and, paragraph 2 might be professors or campus. And by the way, so that could be a total of 3 paragraphs, right? You could do like within the same paragraph talk about it, or it could be 6 paragraphs. And for the first 3, you talk about high school. The last 3, you talk about college, or you could stagger them. So one high school paragraph talking about, tuition, and then jump over to college for the second paragraph. Any which way you want to do it, you outline it, it's going to be great. Now, a point that I briefly discussed earlier. This is like the biggest thing. I should really kind of put this maybe in the first part of the paper. I just don't want to confuse people, I think. But it is very important to note that you should always defer to the instructor with the assignment. Now, I'm telling you, in my 15 years of teaching the subject, and the clearest, best way to do it, not all English teachers are. I think I've I've solved the riddle for like 95% of it. And I mean, it's not even a riddle for 95%. 95% are like, man, I want to make sure my students are going to be all right, getting to the next level, and even in the job field, like they've got to say something, and they've got to explain their rationale. This is how they can do it. And but it's just that 5% is just wild sometimes with instructors. And usually it's not even in a bad way. It's like they'll let you do whatever you want. And truth be told, I needed a little bit of that in my life growing up. Anyways, so as a student, you are like a chef. It's important to meet the needs of each customer. If a customer wants a well-done steak with ketchup and mustard, it's just sacrilegious right there. I think well-done steaks are sacrilegious, but in the first place, but the ketchup and the mustard. Actually, no, you know what? I take that back. If I had to have a well-done steak, I would probably chop it up and put it in a hoagie or something, like a sub. Anyways, we're getting off topic here. Yes, so you got to meet the needs of the customer, who in this case is the instructor. If they want the steak cooked well done, other times they might want a veggie burger with pickles and blue cheese. That's what you got. That's what you got to do. And do it how they want to do it. In other cases, instructors may not be entirely clear what they want, so you will have to create a paper based on your own general sense of good taste, which can be developed in this guide. And that's what I'm trying to teach the method that is going to give you the most flexibility. And as I said, like some instructors, especially if they're not in the English major field, that they can kind of be vague about their paper that they assign or whatever. They don't do papers and stuff. They know a good paper when they see it. They might assign a paper once a semester or whatever, and they're not really like, they just want the paper, and they want it to be good, and they want it to make sense, and again, feel like the student knows what they're talking about and expressing them the right way. And they're not going to be generally helpful because they teach biology. You know what I mean? That's what they do. Or whatever subject it is. It's not English, and they're not responsible for it. So this guide is here to help you develop that good taste so that you can write them the paper that they want, and maybe even the one they didn't know that they wanted, but when they see it, they're like, yep, I like that. So, okay, here we are with the thesis. It all started with the thesis, and every instructor loves a good thesis, especially when you follow it through to the end. And in the book, I don't know if I changed the title around it. This chapter is the thesis in the longer essays. So I think we've accomplished all that, and you're off to a real good start here if all this is making sense and you did the examples, especially if you wrote that paper and everything came together. So thanks for tuning in, and things are going to get real exciting for next chapter, where we discuss everybody's very favorite part of the essay, which is the research paper, which actually, I say that sarcastically, but you can't get excited because I'm going to make it as easy as possible and make it so that, you can get it done quickly, easily, and most importantly, get that good grade. Now it's time to recap. First, we started out with the thesis And what that means, it's the main topic plus your opinion, a singular opinion, and your reasons for that opinion, 1, 2, and 3. And make sure you practice with the outlines. It is key to make sure that you have plenty of practice and are fluid with them. So number 2 here, we looked at the short essays and saw how those thesis and outlines translate into a short essay. At that point, you should choose one of your completed outlines, write your own short essay using mine as a guide. And 3, understand the comments, right, that go on in the introduction. Complete that practice as well. Comments are a subtle thing, but they are important. 4, we went on to complete a big outline. And when you're doing yours, feel free to use the previously used thesis/short outline to begin. And 5, complete the long introduction/conclusion, making sure you have your theses all in order and with comments in between. And then finally on 6, we reviewed the last slide, different kinds of essays, and understand how those different kinds of essays are similar, even though they maybe have fancy wording or titles. All right, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next show.